future Hall of Famer. Such a dependable guy and one of the most complete tight ends that we've seen in a long time.
Play fake to Witten into the end zone. Touchdown. Touchdown pass to Jason Witten. He's a touchdown machine, I tell you. Jason Witten, touchdown. Cowboys win. Ho, ho, ho.
Our next guest needs no introduction. We're talking about America's team. We're talking about Mr. Cowboy. We're talking about Jason Witten. And Jason, before I get to all of our good football questions, tell us what you're doing with Schwann's.
Yeah, I partnered up with Schwann's, offering the ultimate meal package and letting fans know that they'll deliver it anywhere to them. And it's great in Dallas. We did an event there offering some underprivileged families where Schwann's came in and donated a bunch of food to them. And so doing the same thing in Minneapolis. For every new order, they're giving $5 to a food bank here in Minneapolis. So great stuff going on.
Good for you. And by the way, Jason's joining us obviously live from Minneapolis. And Jason, I want you to know that here recently on Undisputed, we've had Bryce Butler, we've had Orlando Scandrick in studio sitting right over here in this chair. They have been very outspoken about what's going on and hasn't gone on with your Dallas Cowboys. So give us your highly controversial inside insight into why you guys struggled last year.
Well, it's a perfect fit, Skip, because you guys are one of the quieter shows out there.
Yep,
so
we are.
To be on with you. Yep. I tell you what, I can't go anywhere. You know, do okay here and there in year 16, and you know, have a little bit of success. You know, can't do anything. Can't swing a stick without somebody talking about Shannon and talking all that trash. You know, so look, he's one of those guys that I looked up to as I came into this league and admire the way he played, and he was such a great player and ambassador for the position. For now, a young guy, back then, a young guy for me to be able to watch. And I got so much tape on Shannon, you know, I can go for months looking at that tape. So, anyways.
And by the way, just for those who are just joining us about this, this has been going on for what now, a year or so?
Yeah.
And Shannon Sharpe still believes with all his heart and the soles of his shoes that he could outrun Jason Witten right now as Shannon approaches age 50. In his street shoes, he says, which is obviously preposterous, but that's what Shannon thinks. So defend yourself, Shannon Sharpe.
Well, maybe not these street shoes and maybe not these pants, because these pants I have on right now is like guitar strings. They're really tight. But I just do, I do, Jason. That's not to diminish you. I just have the utmost confidence in me. And, you know, in watching you week in and week out, you move the chains, you get the job done. But I think I can take you, Jason. I really do, honestly.
Your response,
well,
Jason.
you understand, Shannon. You know, oftentimes you guys forget. You know, if Shannon, it's not, he pretends as if he averaged like 19 yards a catch. You know, going down there the way he ran, but he mastered it. He's one of the guys I learned it from, is playing this position. You know, oftentimes the guys across from you are faster and more athletic. So leverage, top of the routes. You know, doing the different disguises. He was so good off the line of scrimmage, getting separation. And so, you know, I just kind of stole that blueprint he created and tried to move the chains and try to win some of these games and hopefully compete for a championship one day.
And by the way, Jason, you have now lasted 1 year longer in the National Football League than Shannon Sharpe lasted. And we hear, I think you're going to go onward and upward for at least one more year. What's your game plan? How many more years?
Yeah, I think when you get in this stage of your career, you just take it 1 year at a time. You know, I still feel like I can play this position at a high level, and even when you get older, there's the details of understanding your preparation, some of the things I just talked about of leverage and how to run routes and understanding coverages. That all plays into your advantage. And so I'm excited for this upcoming season. As I said, take it a year at a time, and ultimately we got a lot to clean up and look forward to getting back at it.
What do you have to clean up?
Well, I just think as a whole, we didn't play as well. Offensively, we didn't play to what our formula is. That's been a strength of ours. You look back in 2016, going 13-3, our offense, certainly we were able to lead the league in rushing. And I thought this year we were able to run the ball really well. But collectively, we weren't able to make enough big plays down the stretch offensively to give ourselves a chance to compete and score points. So we all got to evaluate it and look at ourselves, get better at it, and get back to the drawing board. And so that's what we're trying to do right now.
And what, in your estimation, has gone wrong with a guy who has struggled mightily, especially last year, in Des Bryant?
Well, I think when your offense doesn't perform to the expectations and the standard which you would hope for, I think it's easy to kind of make blanket statements of the stat line. But quite frankly, when your offense doesn't do well, and all of our stats are down, not just Dez's. And so I believe Dez is an elite player. His ability to go high point the ball at the X position is as good as there is in the National Football League. And so as Dak enters year 3, and he's proven to be a franchise quarterback, and we all just continue to improve and do better and work at our game, that Dez can still play that position at an extremely high level.
You mentioned that you would like to get back to making those big plays, but where are the players on the roster other than Zeke? I mean, Jason, you can move the chains, but that wasn't our game. Our game was not going out and catching that 80 and 90-yard touchdown. Where are these big plays going to come in the passing game? Bryce Butler's a free agent. You know, you heard Jerry Jones, you heard Stephen Jones speak about Dez is making a lot of money, but the production is not matching up with the money. So where are these big plays going to come from?
Well, I think that's when you go into the offseason, you evaluate that. But I certainly think Dez is one of those guys that can make those big-time plays. I think Cole Beasley a year ago, he's one of the better slots in that position. You know, what his ability to create separation. Terrence Williams is a big threat for our offense. So we believe we have a lot of weapons. I'm not disguising that. I mean, I think we didn't play well enough last year. We didn't have enough big plays that you're referencing. And we didn't have the results. But I still believe we have the guys that can do that at a premier level. Some of those that I just mentioned between Williams and Beasley and certainly Dez that can really stretch the field and get those big plays that you're talking about.
If you don't mind me asking, let's address the elephant in the room. How much did you guys miss Ezekiel Elliott?
Well, yeah, I mean, Zeke is so good. I mean, his ability to run the football, not only as a runner, but his ability outside as a receiver. I mean, you think it's just a 3-yard check down and the guy turns it into a 12-yard run, you know, and that's a first down. I mean, he's a dynamic player. He was gone for 6 games. I would be the first to say you missed him. And, you know, you don't replace a guy like him, even though our runners, Alford and Rod Smith, they played really well for us. I mean, but Zeke is so dynamic, and with our identity being in our run game, I think that's easily that we weren't able to play as well without him. But I think it's what you can't do is use that as a little bit of a default of, well, because he wasn't there, we didn't win. You know, and teams have injuries, they have suspensions, and they're able to overcome it. I mean, Philadelphia's playing in this game Sunday. Their left tackle, who's perennial Pro Bowler, is not in there. It's an important position. And so you have to be able to overcome those things. And yeah, I mean, and look at that. And so, but they've missed their left tackle for a substantial amount of games this season. So, and now with Carson going down too. So I just think we weren't able to do that consistently enough. And it's hard when you lose a guy like Zeke, but certainly you still got to find ways to be able to make plays and win games. I mean, adversity is going to hit you. You know that, Shannon. Yep. You experienced it so much over the course of your career. We weren't able to make the plays, and that's what we have to get better at.
So, Jason, I'm sold on Dak Prescott. My partner here, not so much. How much did you see that he regressed last year in Dak Prescott?
Well, I think the result, the record wasn't the same. I mean, so that's I think what a lot of people point to. But I still think that he plays at a high level. I mean, he's only in his second year. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's an incredible competitor. He loves the game. He has all the intangibles as a leader, how he works, prepares, studies. He has a great concept for the game and understanding coverages. And he's just going to continue to play well. I think he would be the first to say that, as we all would, that we got to play better. But I do think you can build your football team around him. I think he is a dynamic player in person, and I think our core is really good. I like our football team. Big reason why I want to come back and be a part of it is because I like the men in that room, and they're competitive. They love playing, and I think we can compete. So ultimately, that's somebody that's a key position, and I think he has all the traits that you can build around.
Get me fired up for next year. So, by the way, speaking of those Eagles, Jason, you get to see them or have to see them twice a year. They're looking pretty strong right now. What shot are you giving them against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick?
Well, I'm giving them a really good shot. I mean, obviously, Bill and Tom, they have the formula. I mean, they have the blueprint and how they work and prepare. And, of great players and coaches. But I think with Philadelphia, what you don't realize is in this offense, with the RPO action that they got and what Doug's put in, they stay ahead of the change so much with the way they run it, and then they're able to kind of, it's a run to everybody, and then boom, it just becomes a little bit of a pop pass to the tight end. And they do it the same thing on the outside. And so I think if they're able to stay ahead of the chains the way this offense is built, that Doug Peterson's brought in, then they'll have a chance. I mean, their defense is really good. They got a number of pass rushers that get to the quarterback. The back end, Jim Schwartz is under that Belichick tree, so he understands disguising coverages. Those guys understand it well. I mean, certainly it's Tom Brady and Gronkowski and a lot of big-time players on the other side who've played and won these games a lot. So I think Philadelphia's got more chance than people are probably giving them credit for.
Jason, we appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing the Dallas Cowboys in this game next year, right?
We hope so. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks for coming on with us, Jason.
Thank you. Up next here on Undisputed, last night, James Harden achieved